All right, that's so good to have you again. And in this episode, this is lesson 5 on speech communication. We've done quite some lessons 1, 2, 3, 4 uh, on speech communication. And in this particular episode, I'm going to take you on speech planning. Speech planning. Actually, uh, this particular lesson is made up of two topics: speech planning and audience analysis. But because I don't want the video to be too long, I'm going to do lesson 5, part 1 for speech planning, and then I'm going to do lesson 5, part 2 for audience analysis. I'm sure that will be fine for you because it will make it easier for us to get you to absorb each of the content without confusing either of them. All right. Now, before I go on, I want you to immediately share the link with your fellow classmates in communication studies or mass communication. I want you to share it with other students. I want you to let other students also have the opportunity to get to know this channel so that they can always come here to find material they can use for their assignments, they can use for updating their notes, and generally learn about communication concepts and everything that they need to know about mass communication. So just share the link right now and then return back to continue to watch the video. Uh, don't forget to subscribe. In fact, if you just touch that subscribe button now, and then touch the notification button also. The reason is because YouTube would like to uh, notify you whenever this channel gets a new lesson upload so that you will get the entire teaching on speech communication when it is uploaded, when each one of them is uploaded. So let's dive in straight to speech planning. What is planning? I just make it simple so that anybody can easily understand it. Planning is organizing intentionally so that you can be able to achieve an intended result. Uh, Putting things in order with the intention that if everything plays out the way you have set them and arranged them, you are going to get the specific outcome that you intended to get. That is planning. So, in speech communication, planning is important because in speech communication, we always have a goal. There is something we want to achieve. So, we have to also plan. We have to put, things in order. Our speech has to be organized. Our speech has to be arranged in such a way that there is an introduction, there is a conclusion, and in between there is a body. So when I am going to give a speech, I know where I am starting, I know where I am ending, I know what is in between, and I know how all the pieces fit together. So my credibility is taken care of, my pathos taken care of, and my logos also taken care of in that speech. So nothing is missing and nothing is lacking. So that by the time I'm done speaking, I have that exact result that I set out to achieve by the time I started my speech. Now, why is speech planning important? Speech planning makes it easy for you to have clarity. It ensures clarity. You don't confuse things. You yourself, you are not confused. You know where you are starting, you know where you are ending, you know what is in between. There is clarity of everything you want to get done. You are clear about it. Number two, speech planning ensures logical flow of your thoughts, logical flow of your arguments, logical presentation of facts. Sometimes facts build on each other. So if you don't plan your speech, what is supposed to come first, you might end up coming last. And what is supposed to come last might end up coming first. In either of these cases, you are going to have an anticlimax. You're going to have, effects, because the effect your last point is supposed to have is different from the effect your first point is supposed to have. Now imagine where your first point is made last and then your last point is made first. You can imagine that. And your last point is actually supposed to be the climax of your speech, but you have made that first. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So there is no logical flow. There is no logical flow, but planning ensures that you have a logical flow. Planning also helps you to manage time effectively. Without planning, you can spend hours on just introduction and you have not even gone into your main message. And by the time the bell is ringing, assuming it is a timed speech, the bell is ringing for you to round up. You have not even started, going into the main subject of your presentation. So planning helps you to manage time effectively. Planning also helps you to get rid of anxiety. We spoke about speech anxiety in one of the lessons, and I want to refer you back to it. Look for the video on speech anxiety and how to manage speech anxiety. But planning helps to reduce speech anxiety because it helps you are prepared. Planning is part of your preparation. And in your planning, what you are going to do, your practice, and all of that, they are taken care of in your planning. The number of times you are going to rehearse before you go to make your presentation is all part of your planning. It's all part of your planning. Not just the sequence of your presentation, but even your costume for the presentation is all part of the planning, because your costume can actually take away from your presentation. So when you are planning, you plan not only about the content that you are going to present, but you also plan about the non-verbal uh, aspects of that communication experience that you want to give people. The planning also increases your confidence, because you are prepared, because you have planned, the map, you have a clear map of where you are going, you know the road, you are confident. It's like driving. If you know the road, if you have frequented a particular route, driving on that route, you drive with certainty. But if it is a road you are not familiar with, you will drive with a lot of caution, right? So it's the same thing also with speech. When you don't plan, you will not have confidence when you stand before the audience. But if you have actually done proper planning, you will always be confident standing before the audience. Planning helps to maximize your impact. In fact, you know what punch to give at any stage in your speech. So your impact, your chances of making impact is higher because you planned. But if you did not plan, you reduce your chances of making impact. And it has to be very, very clear to you about why planning is important. Never take it for granted that you know the subject, you can talk and all of that. No, you have to plan. You have to plan. Finally, why speech planning is important. It aligns your message with audience expectation, because you you in your planning, in planning your speech, one of the things you take into consideration is your audience, who they are, what they are, their expectations, their cultural context, and all of that. You have already taken care of all of that in your planning. So it makes you to align your your message, the content of your presentation, to what their expectations are. So like you coming to this channel, I know that you are expecting to understand communication concepts. I know that you are a student, or maybe you are a scholar. uh, you want to prepare, you want to know more about speech communication, and you want to be able to get the nuances of speech communication. So you come to this channel, so your expectations have taken that into consideration. For you that is a student, I know that you're going to write exam. You need something that you can present before your lecturer, and your lecturer will say, yes, indeed, you know what you are talking about. So all of that is already taken care of in the presentation I am making. So it is important that your message always is aligned to the expectation of your audience. If you fail to meet your audience expectation, then you have uh, failed in speech communication. Having done with that, let us go into the steps we need to take in planning a speech. What are the steps in planning a speech? What are the steps? Can you think of some? All right, let me. Okay, yes, if you can think of some, why don't you type it in the comments? Any steps you think you need to be taken, in planning a speech? What steps do come to your mind that you need to take in planning the speech, just type it into the comment section, and I will look at it, and then I will respond to you. Now, but let me give you this straight up. First step you need to take in planning your speech is to determine the purpose of that speech. Are you giving the speech to inform? Are you going into the speech to persuade? Are you going into the speech to entertain? In communication generally, we inform, we educate, we entertain. All right? Communication does all of that, all of those three. Now, in speech communication also, because it's communication, it informs, it educates, it persuades, it entertains. So when you are going into a speech presentation, you need to understand what it is. Do you want to just inform the people, enlighten them, uh, uh, present facts before them? Do you want to educate them, you know, cause them to critically think about the material you are presenting, and then bring them to new knowledge? Is that what you want to do? Do you want to persuade them, maybe change their conviction, or their correct some erroneous beliefs they have? Is that what you want to do? Do you just want to entertain them? So understand the purpose of your speech. That's the first step. The second step is to identify your topic. Identify your topic. Identify your topic. Identify your topic. Then research that topic. Identify it and research it. Other people have done something similar to it. Other people have done things, about it. So find out what others have done about it. Find out what they have not done about it. Find out all the details you can get about it, so that when you are speaking, you speak, out of knowledge. You are not speaking out of ignorance. You are speaking out of knowledge. So research your topic. Gather all the facts that you need to gather. Number 3, analyze your audience. Analyze your audience. Do an audience analysis. We will deal with that in detail in part 2 of lesson 5. But here, do an audience analysis. Try to understand them. Then number 4, organize your content logically. Organize your content. Make sure that your content is, logically arranged, so that it will make sense. Comprehension is difficult when there is confusion. So make sure that you don't confuse your audience, but instead you make comprehension easy for them. And you do that by organizing your content in a logical manner, so that everything follows, in the way they should follow. Number 5, draft your speech. Draft your speech. Draft your speech. And After you have drafted your speech, the next thing you need to do is to revise it. Draft your speech, and then number 6, revise that draft. Improve on it, edit it, update it. Make sure that, let's say for instance, you wrote that speech 3 days ago and you want to present it tomorrow. Today, you need to revise it. Maybe new information has come out and you need to include that new information. Then the next thing you need to do is to practice. Practice your delivery. Don't just wait for the time or day of your presentation. Practice and practice and practice so that when you go to the stage, you will be ready to deliver according to what you have rehearsed. According to what you have rehearsed. So that is all I have for you in speech planning. Remember, it is not only the content of your speech that you plan, you also plan the non-verbal aspects of your communication. So I will see you in part 2 of lesson 5 immediately after this. But before you join me in lesson 5 part 2, please, I want to ask you again, if you have not subscribed, please do that just now. Turn on the notification button so that you will be notified once I upload part 2 of lesson 5. Have a nice day.